Good morning. Hi, I'm Dyonne. I'm a healer from Holland. And today with me again is Josef, a healer and psychologist from Sweden, and Miriam, a philosopher from Sweden. And we can never get enough of our conversations on personal development. And we ended our last talk about change. And then Miriam, all of a sudden, blurted out some extra side topics. So Miriam, actually, I want you to continue this conversation.
Yes. Well, I was inspired by Joseph, who suddenly said, "Well, we're talking about change, change as something that is explorational in nature. You don't really know what you're going, but somehow you're on a path that is pulling you, and you can recognize when you're on this path because it feels good. It doesn't. If you suffer too much, yeah, basically. Yeah. But the thing then about the suffering in life, and the thing about what to do when you are, it feels like you are just meeting problems after problems, and there are these hindrances that things that stop you on your way, things that go wrong, things that unexpected things that that feel very, very bad. What do you do with them? And to me, because I'm like in a happy space at the moment, so I'm just thinking they're all part of a bigger plan. They're all part of a bigger plan. We shouldn't, like, even these small things. It's so one example is a small problem. So a friend of mine felt that she couldn't go through with something that she had said that she would go through with, and she felt really bad about this. And then she was just like, she felt like a failure, like she hadn't, she promised something and then she didn't pull through. It's a very bad feeling, and this might throw you off course. This is what we say. We use this language about the path all the time, right? It throws you off course. And then, so with the same analogy, what you need to do, this is like a sidetrack now, but what you need to do is to find your North Star again, so that you know how to navigate out of your when you're off course, right? But the thing with this is when you're faced with something like that you feel bad about something that you lovely.
Yeah. I can tell you something about what you're saying now. So
I'll just
go ahead.
One more sentence and then I'll leave to you. So
go ahead.
So my point with this was when something like that happens, you disappoint yourself. You feel that you're thrown off course and you need to navigate back again. So the question is, wasn't this part of your path? Isn't this also something that you needed to know where you were going and what you needed to bring?
I really want to jump in there because my partner is currently doing he's learning about Stoicism, and he does daily Stoic meditations, and he just finished certain books. One was called The Ego is the Enemy, and the other one, The Obstacle is the Way. And what they are both about actually is exactly this. So it's not about, so it's when your life goes, as you say about your friend, it has nothing to do with that the occurrences should change or the situation. It's about you, your attitude, and your perception. So if something like that happens, it's about looking at that situation from another perspective, changing your view consciously, and willingly be open to look at it from another perspective and see and ask yourself the question, why is this showing up in my life? And not how can I get rid of it? Because apparently, and that's also what to me karma is about. Karma is not a bad thing biting you in the ass. No, karma is about learning a life lesson. And what needs to happen when something shows up in your life, that you look at it and that you see, okay, in what area do I still have learning to do? In what area do I still have to grow up? In what area do I need to mature or ripe? Or what confrontation do I need to have still? And it's only later on, that's the thing with change, you can only see later on in retrospect what happened for you there at that time in that particular situation.
Oh,
but it starts with seeing the obstacle as the way. The obstacle is there to confront you. Hey, look, there's a rock on the road. Yeah, and it's not about moving away from the rock. It's moving towards the rock and looking at it from a different perspective, and opening your consciousness, your mind, and see how to navigate that.
well,
Yeah. Can I can continue with
Yeah,
on this
yeah.
thing? It's yeah, it's good because usually what happens is when you meet these obstacles, you want to go back as it was before, normal.
Yes. Yeah.
Because that's what people are talking about right now, you know, in this pandemic thing.
Resisting change, resisting the change.
We don't want. We want to go back as it was before. You know, that's the normal thing. Nothing will be normal. You know, it's the changes is going on, and it's not going back, because what sometimes we want, you know, is going back to the prison of what we were before. But at least that was a bit quiet, you know. Why doing all this kind of change, you know? Please let me go back to what has been before. That's just to lower the problems, you know, kind of things. But you're suffering very much in the way of going back to where it was before. So please continue, meet the obstacle as it is, because that's part of the change.
Yeah, and it's about
you will overcome this, and you can continue. Don't be afraid of that.
It's about changing your mindset from, okay, I have a problem to every solution, to I have a solution to every problem. And that's very much what it is about in life. You have to get to that point. Hey, okay, that's a problem, but I am gonna name it something else, because I have a solution, and I have a solution for it.
Yes.
Miriam, yeah.
Yes, I was thinking about my friend, and the question of seeing it from another perspective. So two things I wanted to say. So seeing it from another perspective, I have a suggestion for a perspective, namely your future self. So how would your future self see this thing? I think that can be like a very, at least for some people, for me certainly, it's like the quick thing, the quick method that changes everything. Because if you can look back, say, imagine that you're on your deathbed and you go, what happened that time when I felt so bad about that? And then you can immediately go, oh, I mean, it's okay. You can have so much compassion, and you can see what the lesson was. And if that is difficult for you to use this mind trick, then I want to just have this disclaimer about the dangers of starting to think too much about what is this telling me, because that can get you into the headspace where you are just asking and asking and asking, and then you feel worse and worse and worse, you know? So there is, so what was my point here? It was something about I do want
that you have two things. So future self, it could be one perspective, and you have another way of because not being in the head. I would say radical, like, what do I want from it myself? Or like literally, I would literally ask myself nowadays. But that's where I am with my maturity.
I think my first okay, so the other, I'll go back to philosophy again then. So talking out loud, thinking out loud together. That's like the philosophical practice thing that we do. So bring someone in. If you are in the headspace where you're wondering and wondering and wondering, why did I do this? What am I trying to learn? Why do I keep running into the same obstacle? Blah 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 blah. You know that you can have it 25 years in your head. You can work with the same question and nothing happens. Then what you need to do is bring in someone else and talk to them about it.
Yes. Yeah.
A good person.
Yeah, but that's when the overthinking happens. When the overthinking happens, when it's not the healthy thinking anymore. When the overthinking happens, analysis paralysis.
Yeah, I would think of say, wonderful. Just go on, you know, because there's a path, and it's not by chance that you are on this path. You know, it's not by chance. it's a bigger plan, you know, it's kind of a master plan. You're part of it.
And we need obstacles to grow. We need
Yes, we
them.
do.
Otherwise, you don't evolve.
No,
don't
you need
develop.
them because you
Yes.
need them to grow, to mature, actually to be younger in a way.
Yes, to become
By
younger.
growing,
Yeah.
you're getting younger. Yes.
There's this nice
into that.
There's this nice quote that they say, comfort zone is very comfy, but nothing ever grows there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a very good word. That's what I'm actually saying to you. You know, the comfort zones not change, you know, and that's people dying out of these comfort zones, you know, suffering very much.
Mm. And I'm thinking about C.S. Lewis. I think it was him, and the idea that you know, it's these problems. It's just God's chisel who, when he out, makes us into diamonds.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's nice, huh?
Nice.
Yeah. Yes. So change is very important for personal growth. Change is inevitable. Suffering is a choice.
Yes.
And yeah, so for me, what I learned myself over the years also is to actually, just that the resistance, not being open to change, and not having, I don't know, not wanting to be present in my own life. I think it's about the time that I didn't want to take responsibility, or that I didn't want to show up in my life. And actually, I can also say from experience that created much more pain than, I mean, the real pain is the necessary pain, but the suffering is way more, it cost me way more in my life, and it brought me nowhere. Just conquering the obstacle and conquering life as it is actually less heavy than holding on to the suffering.
Yeah.
Oh, I have another thread here about change. It is related, semi-related. It's related in my head, and it has to do with language and the sphere of language. It has to do with things like cliches, or like popular sayings. Something like, in Swedish you would say, när fan blir gammal blir han religiös, for example. When the devil gets old, becomes religious. So, and this is like a story that, yeah, I know. So all of those old sayings, the ancient sayings that tell you something about predictable change, but also about the more cliche type phrases that we might use, such as "you need to be present in your life." And this, suddenly there is, like, what I wanted to say about this is that at a certain point in your development, they make sense, but before that, they don't make sense.
Yeah.
You know, so this,
I love that. Yeah.
So this is about how we move through the sphere of language, but it's like we have, my point was, we have all this wisdom that's been around forever.
Yeah.
And even in Cinderella stories, and certainly the biblical stories, that's why I'm so interested in the Bible, because it feels like they are telling, it's like an archetypical story of every person's life. That's the number one reason for being so interested in the Bible.
Yeah.
So so we have these stories are available. We can tell them, we can talk about them, we can use them, but only at a certain point in our development do they make sense. Isn't it interesting?
Yeah.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. We need to learn to listen, be willing to listen.
But how do you listen when you haven't already done it? It's like a catch-22 thing. You know,
I think that goes back to the parenting, learning to listen to parents, not with everything, but I mean, in generally speaking, you know, having your parental education and then growing up and creating stamina in school and as a student, and then in life, be open to learning about life, and then the hardships, and that will not go without a fight, not at all. And but I do believe it's about listening around you, listening to what the books really have to say, listening to what your heart has to say, and with listening, I mean the openness of mind, and yeah.
Oh, I have the best thought.
And I think that comes both from outside and inside. I mean, it could come from a song, it could come from a biography, it could come from a friend going through a hardship, and it moves you. That's why we have our emotions. We're moved, or we feel frozen, or something happens, and then it strikes us in a way, and then it does something to us, and then we do something with that, well, hopefully. And then, as you say, wisdom is going to start to make sense, and then the next time when you use the cliche, it has a it's laden, it's, how do you say, it has a meaning. You have a personal meaning with the wisdom you share. Same for me now. When I say these things here now, they are cliches, but I know them now inside out when I say them, what I mean with them. I mean, I first started to, for me, Buddhism is a good example. I started practicing Buddhism at a young age, the Vipassana, and I just felt drawn to it, but I could never say why. I just needed to do it. And it was only later on that I learned about, okay, our only problem is that we're either attached to the suffering, or we're attached to the longing, the desire, or the wanting to move away from something. And that's the paradox. As a human being, we're always stuck in. We want more of something, we need it, we want it, we need it, or we don't want it and we don't need it and we push it away. And that struggle all the time creates the suffering. That's how the Buddhists approach it. And I always wanted to understand that, and I tried and I practiced it, and then all of a sudden I started to feel what they meant. It showed up for me in a work life and in a relationship and with personal distress and with family members, and all of a sudden I started to understand, that's what they mean. Oh, and that's what they mean with the ego. And that's what they mean with letting go. And that's what they mean with resist and resilience. And
I know, this is it's so fascinating. And I love what you said about, you said you started talking about parenting, and I figured, and then suddenly I remembered this great phrase from a book I don't remember the name of, but it said, everything is parenting you. The whole world is parenting you.
Yes.
Every room you walk into, every book you read, everything is parenting you. And then, because we talk about this quite a lot, that the openness and the third factor and things like that. But I want to bring in another possibly slightly controversial word, namely discipline and obedience, because it means that you need to recognize that you are a child.
Yes.
You know, and that everything is parenting you. Like I am a child. I am an adult, but I am a child. You know?
Yeah. In that, I would like to also to put into, I'm sorry, is that change is also not letting yourself be filled with all this kind of experience and not having space for anything new. Because some people, getting old or something like that, say, I have all these kind of knowledge and sphere, and there's no space for letting you. You have to be a child all the time to learn things. So I'm learning, even though I have a lot of experience, but letting myself into the change of the things that's going on. Because
so beautiful.
That's the change. You have to let yourself, otherwise you're stuck. You see lots of people getting stuck saying, oh, I know so much, what can I learn more? No, you're learning all the time, because you're getting you're getting it all the time. You are a child in this world.
And the key is you have to learn obedience. Like when you are getting a lesson, you need to, du måste lyda, is what I want to say. It sounds better in Swedish, and in English it sounds like somebody standing there with a whip, but I don't mean that at all. I just mean you need to have the discipline to learn the lesson that is given to you. You need to be, need to have like, I mean, is it coming across the right way? I mean, in my
I
head,
think for me, it would be like you need to learn to deal with life, to be humble to life, to,
it's humility.
yeah,
Yes.
it's a humility, but it's also, yeah, life has a basic set of rules we need to live by. And I don't mean that in a dogmatic way, but there are some natural laws you have to abide by. So I think, well, for me, it makes sense what you try to say, even though there could be more proper language. That would be great, but I do feel what you say.
Yeah, I'm going to work on this. I need to write a book about this, I feel, you know?
Yeah.
Be obedient.
But energy-wise, I get it. I mean,
Yeah.
and if a viewer would have a more proper sentence, they can write it. Write it there as a comment.
Yeah, we're not native English speakers, so we're playing around with these.
Yes.
Now.
But I feel where you're coming from. I feel.
Yeah, me too. That's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to, when if God is showing you something, who are you to like, oh, I don't want to learn this now, I'm going to make the same mistake 300 times more.
Yeah. 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 Yes.
I'm so fascinated sometimes when I hear myself talk, and I'm like, I say to God, I say these words that I didn't know I was. I didn't know I was like that. Like, this is such a self-discovery situation for me. This group.
Yes, and I think that's the maturity that
that's the change that is going on.
That's a change, but it's also the maturity that you can see of yourself back in the recordings and understand, oh wow, I've come this far, this came from that place, and it's there stored subconsciously now, and then you can just tap into it. That's the maturity of your soul now.
Yeah, and this it ties into what we talked about in the last episode with the exploration, and you don't quite know where you're going, because now I feel surprised at things that I'm saying, but I feel so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
you're okay with change. You understand change.
It's very much okay. Yeah. That is good.
That's the beauty of aging. That's the beauty of aging. Understanding this now. I love it. Yeah.
That our ending? It feels like an ending, right?
Yes. Let's keep it at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you.